Right. 7:14. Let's go ahead and bring Dr. Tom Shieh onto the show here. Good morning, Doc.
Hey, good morning. Sorry I couldn't pick up your call right away.
No
No
problem.
problem.
We're just glad.
We know you're busy.
Yeah, we're glad to have you here. I know Sabrina had wanted to ask you about this move that was kind of still being talked about, I guess, is what we're hearing.
And during the press conference when Chris had actually asked the question on whether or not it was being held up on contract negotiations, and Dr. Mike Cruz said no, Lillian Posada said no, there's just so many details that have to be worked out because you're talking about moving so many different wards up to GRMC, the COVID-free hospital. And one of the things that they mentioned was that a tour took place and that discussions were held with between GMH and GRMC, and also they mentioned your name because I believe you're the chair of OB.
Yeah, I'm the chairman of the OB department. And yesterday we actually had about 6 OBGYNs, private OBGYNs. We've never been to GRMC, so we've gone there and take a look at it and look at their facility for the labor and delivery, the surgical suite, and even the NICU, the neonatal intensive care, and also the pediatric side. I can only recommend, and it's not my decision. I don't have the power to do much of anything, I don't have the power to shut down the island. I recommended it. I think I was the first one to say shut down and lockdown. So it's not that, it's not that I can just have a magic wand, so let's do this, let's do it. But there's people that's in power to have those, the authority to do that. But we did go and take a tour of the GRMC, labor and delivery, and everything else. But before I didn't go to GRMC, it's because I couldn't go to 2 hospitals, GMH and GRMC. You have to choose one or the other as a solo practitioner. But, after taking a tour, and, Mike has invited me to tour before, and I just didn't really consider it. But I did go down there with 6 of our OBs, and we took a look at it. And I think it's good. I think the system set up there with the maternity ward and the NICU, just to tell you, the neonatal ICU at GRMC, it's about, I would say, 10 times bigger than GMH and ICU. 10 times bigger than the NICU. So I think the facility is better, and I think we should take advantage of it. As GRMC has offered it to GMH, I think we should take the opportunity. And yes, plan it out. Plan it out. It doesn't have to be right away, but if we're going to expect a surge in missing the capacity that GMH is, I think we got to plan that early rather than later.
Right. So, Doc, what's the real story? So we heard that they were going to be moved. Dr. Mike Cruz pretty much confirmed that, yes, they were in the beginning phases of moving them, and then discussing it, and then basically Lillian Posadas came out and threw a bunch of water on the fire yesterday and said, no, this is just something we're just talking about.
And Dr. Akamoto yesterday was here on the radio show saying that it should have happened yesterday.
Well, I think the planning process, if you're going to plan that out, probably we should have had it done last week. But, be as it may, like I said, I don't have the power to do much of anything. I'm just an independent provider. I give advice where I can. I don't have that ranking that giving me the authority to do that. It's up to Lillian Posada, up to Annie Badalio at the GMH, and she's the medical director. She also runs SAGWA. I think she also takes call, or I'm not sure, at the GRMC. But I think the bottom line here is this. We want to make sure that we move the maternity ward, OB, and the nursery to GRMC for the safety of moms and babies.
Right.
We know that GMH is going to be inundated with a lot of COVID-19 patients. That's what the predictive outcome is coming out from the press conference. I say, wow, we're going to have this much capacity. Then why not take advantage of the empty rooms over at GRMC? If indeed that GMH is designated as the COVID-19 hospital, it makes sense. And rather than putting it off and just wait until something happens, and then we rush, that becomes a really emergent, and that's when mistakes happen.
Well, what's the holdup, Doc? Do you know what the holdup is?
I have no idea what the holdup is. I think, like I said, I don't have that authority to do much of anything except to just comment. And when I comment, people get mad at me because they don't like my comments. And it's okay. I did say the lockdown. I'm glad that, a week later or, the lockdown. But if you read my emails back in January, I kind of predicted all this would have happened. if people were to listen back in January. But, be as it may, let's not go back there, because if we keep going back there, I keep getting upset. So let's not do that.
Okay.
Let's move forward. I think what we need to do, my recommendation is yes. I think we need to move the maternal child over to GMC. We looked at the facility. I think it's going to work out fine. And keep COVID-19 hospital at GMH. That's fine. We do that. Everybody's pitching in, which is good. Oh, before I forget, I want to thank KUAM for partnering up with us, the doctors, Guam Medical Association, to get the PSA out. I think that was a very good thing that we partnered up with you and also with the other media, before I forget that. And I want to take the opportunity to thank the people at Payless, the essential workers, they're out there stocking up the supplies, the food and everything, so that we can go out and get our food. So those people are actually the heroes out there too, putting out the bread, the fruits for all of us to consume. It's easy for us to go out there, pay money and buy it, but it's those people who are stocking it up. So I want to give a big shout out to them to say thank you very much. Now, getting back to the maternal ward, I can only recommend. And, we'll talk about it as a department, but, I think the pediatric department, they're going to talk about it. I can tell you, the doctors are not all on the same page. And that's the problem with the system, is that some doctors think that they can do what they want, like me. I can do what I want, but other doctors may be against it. For all conflict of interest that all involve whatever they are, we need to put that all aside and focus. What is the best? There's MP rooms up there. Why not take advantage of it? It makes sense.
Doc, are the moms and the kids over at GMH, are they ready for the move? Some of them are your patients, I'm assuming. What are they thinking?
I think the maternity side is fine. I think the OB side is easy. I'll give you an example. We're not always at capacity at GMH. So, you pick a day where it's ready to move. Actually, we set up GRMC. If GRMC is ready to receive us, we can start moving things over. The facility is perfect. I think it's fine. But I think to move the laboring rooms and the delivery rooms, postpartum rooms is pretty easy. I don't think that's going to be a difficult thing. I think the hard thing is that we got to plan it out for the nursery. But majority of the babies are actually rooming in, so that means that they stay with the mom anyway.
Right. But
those babies who need incubation, the incubators and stuff, I think we have a few that's over. There's going to be a transition period. I think a transition period is going to be like, okay, we're going to have some patients here, but also we're going to have some patients at GRMC. And then during that transition, have the ambulance transfer things over. And we can do that in a safety manner that, in a safe manner that, it's not going to, cause too much of a headache. Mm-hmm. But I think we'll work with the pediatricians. The majority of the pediatricians don't admit patients to the hospitals anyway.
Right.
It's all the hospitalists. The hospitalist is the one that's doing it. So I think we need to talk to them. And their employer is Governor Guam. So I think the Governor Guam has the authority to say, hey, you're my employee. I want you to do this. I'm independent. I don't work for the hospital. I don't work for the government. So, maybe that's why they're not listening to me. Huh? What do you think, Chris?
Maybe. Doc, we had a question here on the Facebook. Please test all patients before moving to GRMC. Do not infect the only one hospital we have on Guam. What do you think of that? Because people are saying that.
If I had the power, remember now, if I had the power, I'd test everybody, okay? Everybody on island, 160,000 people, let's test everybody.
Right.
If China, people can do it, let's test everybody. Why not, right? But the reality is that we cannot do that. Now, the question is, why infect GRMC? Well, think about it. There are GRMC employees there that's also working at GMH. There are GRMC employees that's out there, outside. Everybody right now outside is at risk of being infected.
Right.
Everybody's positive.
It's a shared labor pool, right?
Yes. So for all we know, GRMC could have an employee that's already positive. We just don't know. So, don't assume that test everybody before they go. That's not the right way to approach things. This is a public health crisis, and you assume everybody's positive. Okay?
Do you have an idea how many people we're talking about, how many pregnant women and babies that would be moved?
Every single day we have, I think we average maybe around, I would say 10 deliveries a day on the average, because we deliver about 200 babies, 200, maybe sometime in a higher month, maybe 220 at the most a month. So we have about 200 moms 200 plus 100 moms that comes through that doesn't give birth for high-risk patients. So on Guam, we have about 2,000, an average of 2,000 births a year. That's on the average. So we're looking at maybe moving in one day, maybe anywhere between, on a low day, maybe 10 moms. But those patients can be discharged in OB ward. We just need to move the delivery site. But again, there's a transition period. We're not saying move everybody. The patient can be delivered. After delivered, then we'll go ahead and move it out. I have the process in my mind. It's just that I need somebody that can listen to me. I have the process all in my mind, drawn out, on how to make this move. But like I said, I'm not the one that calling the shot. I don't have the authority to do so.
Sounds like you need to be a part of the physicians advisory group.
See, you shouldn't have made the governor mad.
No, listen. My job is not to make the governor mad at all. In fact, I like what she said today. We are a very loving island, but we're going to have to adjust our ways. No longer can we hug each other. We can't kiss each other in the cheeks. Things like that. Kiss the monuncle's hands. Those are our culture here on the island. Even in Hawaii, we have to change our culture. And that's one thing I would agree with the governor, is that we are a loving island. And how did we get to this point? I think after all this is over, I'm sure you're going to do a detailed analysis of how did we get to this point. Date back all the way to January. And I don't want to give you my emails because you'll get very upset. Don't read my emails back in January because I predicted all this. But again, I think what we need to do is listen to everybody. We're going to argue. That's a human nature.
Right.
I argue with our doctors all the time.
Sure.
They hate me for what I say. They stop it. You're causing panic. I'm not trying to cause panic. I think we're beyond that stage of panic.
Yeah.
Right? I
don't think you can cause something that's already there.
No, you can't. We can't say we're causing panic.
Right.
I think we know that situation is dire and we are in a lockdown. So everybody should do their part. And I think our job as doctors is to try to, and I'm trying to calm the public. That's why we reach out to the media to do the PSAs and those things. I think when they hear from us doctors that we are trying to calm the situation down. So I don't want anybody to panic because we're beyond that stage of panicking. We need to work together and try to beat this thing. But, all the positives are coming out. And let me tell you now, we're not testing enough people. And that's the problem. The more we test, we're going to find even more positives. So we're going to have to keep an eye on this and see what happens.
Well, Doc, thank you so much for your time. And you keep us posted on what's going on with the move there and when it goes from the discussion phase to the
move,
the actual move. Okay?
Well, last night when I was sleeping, I had 5 hours of solid sleep, no calls. I woke up and I go, oh, my God, what happened? I had 5 hours of sleep in the last, 5 weeks, I think, since this thing's been happening. So, I was dreaming that, okay, we're moving with actually delivering baby there. It's like, okay, everything's
only in your
good,
dreams, Doc.
And I woke up and I go, oh, my God, just a dream.
Just a dream. Okay.
Take care.
Sweet dreams, okay?
Be safe.
Bye-bye.
Oh, man.
So, discussions are underway. In the meantime, there's protocols that the Guam Memorial Hospital has in place for expectant mothers. They've made adjustments to its protocol for admitting expectant mothers who are in labor. Patients are asked to proceed to the emergency room where they will be assessed for symptoms of COVID-19.